Alright folks, we are here for a tutorial on how to make ceramic pinch pot pears. So here's an example of one that I made a long time ago, and here is another one. Both of these are using stamps to push in for texture, and also using Celadon glazes that are transparent glaze that allows the texture to show through really beautifully. And we'll talk about glazes a little later. So here's our goal, and now we're going to start. For this project, you need a cup of water and a serrated rib. You will need a paintbrush, a paddle, 1.5 pounds of clay that you have wedged really well. So you can see that this is in the shape of a ram's head, and so I know that it's been wedged already. This is about 1.5 pounds, a tiny bit more, and some stamps to push into your pears. I recommend small stamps, not these large flat stamps. These large flat stamps are very difficult to push into a round form. If you have stamps that are flexible but are large, you might be able to use that successfully, but I find that really these little smaller stamps, like this being the biggest one, work the best. Alright, so this is our 1.5 pounds of clay, and I'm just going to take a little off, just a little chunk off, and put it away in my plastic bag so it doesn't dry out, so that I can use this later for my leaves and my stem. Okay? You can see that these pears will be hollow, but not until the very end. So I've got my clay here, and I'm going to go ahead and make a pinch pot. Pinch pots are one of the oldest construction forms in ceramic. We start with a ball of clay, we shove our thumb through it, and pinching and turning until we have evenly formed walls about the thickness of a pencil. Down here you will see that this is a little skinnier than a pencil, so you have to be a little bit careful with that. But once we have two pieces that are formed into pinch pots, we will connect them. So two pinch pots will be connected and then smoothed. We will put a support coil in, and then we will begin shaping. So that's our goal, basically, right? Here is our 1.5 pounds of clay, 1,5 libras de barro. Ya la amasé y ahora estoy haciendo una albóndiga. So I'm doing this in Spanish and English for my Spanish-speaking students. So here's my ball of clay. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half. You can cut it with a wire if you like. You can cut it with a fettling knife if you want, either which way, or you could just tear it in half. I'm going to go ahead and use a wire, push through. Don't worry if you're a little bit uneven. It's not a big deal. You can see that there are no air bubbles in here, which means I have wedged this clay really well. So I'm ready to start forming. One of these is going to get put back in my plastic bag so that it doesn't dry out. I'm going to take my half and I'm going to create another meatball. So corté el barro en medio y guardé el otro medio en la bolsa para que no se seque, y ahora estamos haciendo este medio, una albóndiga. There we go. These marks are because I'm wearing a ring. I strongly suggest taking your jewelry off. So I'm going to take this off right there so you don't make any marks. Put it over there so I don't lose my wedding ring. And now we're set to go. Once you have a fairly even meatball, you're going to go ahead and start pinching. So the first step is to take your thumb, Hold this ball of clay in your hand, in the palm of your hand. Take your thumb of your other hand, start in the center, and shove it through. You do not want it to go to the other end, so be careful. Once you have this, you're going to start pinching. Now, notice that these fingers are totally straight when I pinch. You want them straight, and you want to start pinching at the bottom and going around and then working your way up the wall like a ribbon. The goal, folks, is to get the wall totally even. So once I've opened it up a little bit, I'm going to turn it around, tap, tap, tap it. That keeps the rim even. And then I'm going to continue pinching. Normally when I've opened it up like this, I use my thumb. And again, I'm cradling, I'm holding this like this, and I start pushing my corners out. Because all parts of this pinch pot must be thinned out, including the very bottom. So see how I'm pushing on the bottom. Para empezar a pellizcar, empezando aquí abajo, dando la vuelta hasta llegar arriba. Es importante que todas las partes están el mismo tamaño. So uso el dedo grande para empujar la parte de abajo y las paredes. Notice, folks, that I put this clay down. This pinch pot is being formed right in my hands. You can put your index finger and your middle finger inside, but I find that really your thumb on the inside and flat, straight fingers on the outside is the best way to do this. I'm pinching up. I'm opening it a little bit, but I'm mostly pinching up. I am not pinching out. I do not want to end up with a giant bowl. Cuando pellizcan, asegúrese que están pellizcando para arriba para que las paredes crezcan para arriba. No queremos que esto se abra mucho. So right now I'm just testing and I'm feeling. I'm not even really pinching every time. I'm just feeling. And when I hit a part that is thick, I pinch that part. It's also a good idea to every now and then, if you get cracks like this, just give it a little water. You can also use a spray bottle to hydrate your clay so that it does not crack. So I'm feeling just with my hands right now. Usamos agua para que no se quiebre las paredes, no se quiebran las paredes. And I'm using the tapping on the table so that my rim stays fairly even. So notice that here I am just smoothing. My fingers are a little wet. It's always a good idea to wet your hands a little bit. Do not use a ton of water, but a little bit of water will help you smooth. If you use too much water, your clay will get weak. Un poquito de agua está bien para alisar, pero no mucho o se pone débil. All right, there's one pinch pot. Very good. I'm going to put it upside down, and it's going to wait right here while I form my other pinch pot. So I'm taking it out of plastic. Esta boca abajo, esperando y secando un poco mientras que hago el otro.